everybody. Episode 5 of I Am Music. Back again with Billy. Billy, who do we have today?
Hey guys. Just want to say I love y'all. Wherever you are, wherever you're listening.
Wherever you're listening, taking the time.
Your viewing pleasure. I'm excited because we have two awesome women that are friends of mine. And they're friends of Vocalize You as well. They've been to camp numerous times. Autumn's also been a teacher, so excited to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Nancy Madelon, Autumn Rowe.
Hi.
Yeah. What's happening, guys?
It's just another day out here in LA right now. The COVID test.
We've got a COVID test here. Yep.
I love that you have COVID rapid tests like on you.
Let me tell you something. You know that game show where they're like, if you got a marble, you're gonna get $10,000. I'm that lady that would get that 10. I'm that person that my purse is like a circus bag.
I need to know, do you have hot sauce in your bag though?
I actually don't like hot sauce. And if I did, I would. I'm just super OCD and like always thinking about worst case scenarios.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
Plus you've been doing sessions,
move.
right?
Yeah.
So you want to do them before your sessions right now?
It's an issue though. Like I used to be a massive overpacker when I would travel. So like I used to bring like ball gowns, for example. Like I would say, well, what if I get invited to a gala? You know what I mean? Like what are the odds? It never happens.
When you just do a road trip to like San Diego or something?
like a writing trip to like London or somewhere. And I'm like, you never know. It might be a gala.
Prepared,
yeah. So I'd bring ball gowns, I'd bring all this ridiculous stuff. I never use it. But now I basically carry COVID tests everywhere I go. So I order them.
I actually don't think it's that weird, to be honest with
Thank
you.
you.
In my opinion.
It's not.
Thank you. You just
think
never
it's smart.
know.
No, it's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, because you might be out somewhere, someone will be like, you're like, oh, hold on, I got you. We need to know if you have COVID.
Well, that's the worst time, because I feel like I still do have I have asthma, and so every now and then I will give off a little thing, and I'm always like, oh my gosh, everyone thinks
Yeah.
You don't want I'm super conscious now of like any noise I'll make.
Word.
At the grocery store or
better
anywhere, I'm
muffle
like,
it.
oh.
Yeah. Like the worst when you have to cough and you're like,
And then it sounds
Try
worse
not-
and
you
weirder.
try not
and
to,
then
you're just
you're-
like-
yeah.
don't cough, don't cough.
I think my daughter sneezes when people walk by now on purpose. Like the timing is impeccable. Every time we're on a walk outside, she'll sneeze and I go, Wheezy.
Yeah.
She's 7, so it doesn't really register yet, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
but here we are. We're still making it happen in the music world.
Yeah.
Just keeping everything going and...
Yes.
Have you had a bunch of sessions?
I am working
Remotely?
minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a weird thing now because if I get asked to do a session, it's like, is everyone vaccinated?
Mm-hmm.
Will you be comfortable with testing the day of? I'm just at that point where I'm asking those questions.
You have to.
But you should. I
yeah.
feel like if anybody has an issue with that, then that's, I
Well,
don't think you're asking
Case
too
in
much.
point, you had someone do a test and they ended up positive the day before your session, so she did not
Yes.
go to that
See?
session.
That's where it all came from.
Yeah.
Well, and also now that keeps it going of going, well, I have to do this now, again, because you're trusting other people's things.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
had a session like a month ago, and the day before, I was like, a bunch of my friends, they were not vaccinated, and they were all getting COVID. And I'm like, would you mind just testing before the session? He also wasn't vaccinated, and it came out positive,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my goodness,
Dodged a bullet there.
yeah, for sure. So now I'm just testing all the time. So like right now I'm working on a project, so it's just the same 3 people every day, and we test every 3 days. So I'm kind of putting the idea like when I used to work on TV, if how TV would kind of work a bit, just like that, like
Production schedule,
production,
yeah.
like every 3 days.
Well, you were on
let's test.
America's Got Talent, right?
Yeah, I
As-
worked for
yeah.
Simon Cowell for 6 years. So like I didn't work during COVID, but I have a general idea of how that works. So I'm just kind of putting that hat on and being like the COVID police.
Oh, now I feel like you should take this as well.
And then I'm like, maybe I should
So,
have taken it too. Maybe I should go too.
Yeah, I mean, we've been bobbing and weaving, just working, but for you, it's more sessions. For me, it's taking meetings.
Yeah.
Whether it's a prospective, someone I want to sign, or someone that I just really, a manager, an A&R person, someone that I really feel like it'll be a lot more beneficial to have a meal with them or to meet with them in person and, have a drink or a coffee or something. let's be honest, it's not ideal doing everything
Yeah.
over the phone or Zoom.
Yes.
We get a lot more of a
Done
personal
in person.
connection. And I feel like we just cram a lot more into an
Yeah, of
hour,
course.
when we're in person. So for me, it's more taking meetings. For you, it's more like having sessions.
Yeah.
But I mean, having said that, I feel like both of us have been super busy in the past, year and a half with all of that said.
Yeah.
And had great success,
Yeah.
I mean, that Jean Baptiste record came out during
Yeah.
this time
Yeah,
frame.
congrats on that.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a
amazing.
great record. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's just it's such a joy when you work in music and something like that comes out. You're like, good people, that are super talented still, break through all the noise and all the, one hit
you.
TikTok wonders, and so that's real talent. That's such a great thing
Yeah.
that came out of this time. I signed Tricky Stewart, literally
Huge.
sliding into, COVID. He signed his deal, then we closed down for COVID, and then I signed 6 other people right after that. And I just met one of them in person because she
Wow.
flew in from Toronto after, a year since signing her, because it was she never had an opportunity to come out here.
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, we've been talking and, we've been setting up stuff for her and, all the while, remotely, right?
Yeah.
Not ideal, but we do what we have to do to get it
Yeah.
done,
Yeah, you
It's
got
been an
to
interesting. It's been an interesting time for sure. I mean, watching both of you guys hustle the way you guys hustle is really, really inspiring. I mean,
Oh,
you're every time I go anywhere, you're everywhere.
Which is ironic because I feel
Yeah.
like I've been limiting myself to only
No,
certain
I feel like
things.
you're everywhere. And then every time I talk to anyone, everyone's like you're everywhere. You have your
In
hands,
conversation,
You
yeah.
have your hands in so many things,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Thank you.
Talk about the Sona stuff.
Sona?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, so much to talk about at that. So basically at the beginning of the pandemic, I'll talk about the Songwriter Fund. The beginning of the pandemic, I started going into mother mode and I was like, how do I help people? And I started actually collecting money from you. Thank you for that. From you and a few of Leona Lewis and a few other friends. And I was like, hey, I'm giving money to other friends who have lost gigs or tours or whatever, and I'm just literally was just doing it myself, okay, if Billy gives me this money, I'll give some to this person, and I was just helping to pay people's grocery bills.
Right.
And at the same time, John Platt gave some money to Sona to help out Sona with COVID stuff. So then Sona started the Songwriter Fund, and they were it was just the same time I was doing it, so we just aligned, and I became co-director of that fund.
It's amazing.
And we've now given out over 500 grand.
That's crazy.
Good for
I
you.
mean, it all starts with an
That's so
idea.
cool.
That's a perfect example
Yeah.
of it all starts with intention and
Yeah.
idea, and then it can turn into a half a, 500 grand. I mean, that's
We've given out
yeah, you've
That's
given
insane.
out
already, and
Yeah.
we still have raised more than that.
Yeah, you should be really proud of that because
Thank
you know,
you.
had you not even started that cycle, it might have never occurred at all.
Yeah, it really it's helped a lot of people. I mean, we give out grants for $1,000, but it's also helped me because it's helped me give. I don't know. I feel like, especially in such a traumatic year, when you put that energy into just giving back, as opposed to putting that energy on yourself of oh, what's happening with me, or the world is this, the world is that, and you kind of just go into fix it mode and how can I help? It's actually been really helpful for me, and I feel like it helped me get through COVID with just a focus and an intention. You know what I mean? Because I was in Norway half of the pandemic. I was in New York and I was in LA. So I was just still consistent with doing everything. And eventually, what we'd love to do with the fund is next year, hopefully COVID goes away or really gets lower.
Right.
We can transfer this towards mental health.
Oh yeah, so important.
Yeah,
Huge.
that's big focus.
Because this last year has been insane on that front as well, with the anxiety and the depression and all the other things too. It's everyone's dealing with it. It's just a matter of how they're dealing with it. But everyone's dealing with it. So it's extreme. So because I've dealt with friends that it's very minor, but I could tell that they're going through it. Some of them don't want to talk about it. They kind of close off. They shut down. Other people are just becoming edgy and angry and really aggressive. It's really
Well,
interesting.
some
to see.
people are really isolated too. I mean, I'm not personally, you are not at the moment. But some people, if you think about it, if they were just told to stay home and they don't have a significant other, they don't really have if they're not with other family members, You're
Yeah,
going from
isolating.
being really social to being completely alone, which is, probably frightening. And I'm pretty sure that it would make you reflect on your life too, a lot more.
I went through that.
Yeah,
You guys know me. I'm like a
very social. Yeah.
very social person, and I love people, and I'm a very huggy, touchy, affectionate person, and I just like not having that, or even having access to that, and everyone being so scared, like I can't come over. It's like I had to get comfortable with being alone, which was hard. It took me a while to do that. But at the same time, I'm happy that it happened because it opened up a whole nother like level of drive and focus and determination and creativity that I felt like wouldn't have been unlocked had I not had that alone time. So it's like there's so many things that now that projects and assets that are being created that are things that like come from like the whole fund that you were doing. It's like when you love everybody and want to take care of people, it's like you go into mother mode and you want to help everybody out, especially in a time where everyone's going through all this turmoil. It's like I felt like I was in a great place after internalizing what was going on and me becoming comfortable being alone. Like now in the last probably 8 months, I feel like I'm in a great place. I mean, I talked about it with Nancy before, but like I just feel like I'm in a great headspace, and that's when those ideas come up of wanting to help. Because at the end of the day, we have to take care of each other, and that was when we talked before. You were like, hey, if anything comes up, any odd jobs, like let me know. And I was like, I'm not doing horrible. I could help out, as much as I can, but that's, to me, that stuff is like, and that's why even with the camp, it's like that's our way of like giving back and helping. It's like because we didn't have those things when we were coming up at all.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to just be a vehicle of positivity and change and growth and helping people out as much as I can.
Yes.
Sometimes people appreciate it, sometimes people don't.
Yeah, I mean the isolation part, even if I have someone in my life, but like still like you were saying, not socializing, not being out and about, not being at events that we're so accustomed to having on a regular basis. That was the self-reflection that like I sort of got out of that too, was like obviously gratitude for what I do have. You get to that point where you're like, okay, wow, thankfully like I have what I need, which is super important in these times. But like beyond that, you start to realize that a lot of other noise that you're accustomed to having around you 24/7, you can always have those distractions. There's always somewhere to go. There's always a showcase. There's always a club, a party or something that like you have FOMO that you're like, oh, I can't really be present because I know I'm missing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That part got cut out. So I actually became laser focused on signing and developing talent. I found I fell back a little more into like artist development and that whole area because I was like, okay, now I really have like the bandwidth to, dedicate to something. Where before it would be like, yeah, I want to do it, but like I literally don't have time.
Yeah.
And now it's like for a change, like really all you have is time to dedicate and you just need to allocate it to, what you choose at that point. So that was also a big shift, was like
Huge
also
shift.
cutting out a lot of that, like sometimes unnecessary things, but whether it's necessary or not, like that was just suddenly cut out of your daily routine.
And at the end of the day, it's like everybody's out and doing things. So you're like, what's going on tonight? Where's everybody? You want to make sure that you're involved in those things. But when that stuff shut down, it's like no one's out doing anything. Everyone's in their house. Which is, for me was a great, space to be in because it was like, oh, I can't go.
It was an invitation to stay home
I can't do that
and
if I
not
wanted
feel
to.
like you're doing something wrong.
Guilty.
Guilty or like, it would have been important. Oh, I feel like I should have been there because, this might have happened or, you know what I mean? Like how I think all of us, like, the way that we operate is like you never want to miss an opportunity.
Of course,
like
because you don't know what's going to come and who you're
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a chain reaction. Like, oh, I missed connecting with that person or seeing that person perform, and therefore, it's like a whole chain reaction. So I think like having that peace of mind and being like, oh, okay, well, you know what? Now, if you said like you have all the time you need to do something, like what do you really do with that time? That was also a little bit of a challenge. Like, okay, now I need to maximize this time that I have.
Yeah.
Like, you know, did we get into, you know, exercising more or cooking or other things that people
Eating.
picked up?
Yeah,
I know.
See, that seemed like the
Yeah.
common
Yeah.
thread for everyone.
Yeah, I think we all did well, but there was probably a moment where
Oh, yeah.
It was
banana
like-
bread every week.
everyone did the banana bread, right?
I was making banana bread. Yeah, the first 3 months of the pandemic, I was alone, and I was baking all kinds of.
But you're gluten free, right? So you have your own recipe
yeah,
for like.
gluten-free banana bread, almond flour. I was
Yeah.
making all kinds of stuff, just like I don't know what I was doing. I was just trying to keep my sanity because
Yeah.
like I was DJing a lot.
Well,
right before the
so I was
pandemic.
gonna say, it's
Yeah.
funny, I actually thought of you because they, on Soho House, they added back like a bunch of dates where people are DJing again at the houses. And I was actually gonna ask you, like, are you going back into that space or
I'm
is it way
not.
too soon for you?
It's too soon for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to talk to some people about playing again, but they're private events.
Yeah,
And they're like 30 people.
like a
Yeah.
backyard
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, not quite. Like
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I'm not gonna say who, but no, it's their house.
not quite. No, but like, you know, kind of upscale, like
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
product launches or stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, like celebrity events. But there's still, even those are like very minimal people. And I'm just like now starting to like entertain the idea
Yeah.
even. Like I've been offered a few gigs and I just haven't felt comfortable. Yeah, I'm
It's
definitely.
not right for you right now.
No.
Yeah, you
I
have
know
to
why I
operate
thought
off
of you
that.
No.
because they're doing the Veuve Clicquot
Yeah, the
event.
Viplico, yeah.
What is it called? It's kind of like a polo match,
Yeah,
or
Veuve
yeah.
Clicquot,
So I
yeah.
saw that and I remember. And Jamie, my boyfriend, actually saw there was an ad for it, and you're wearing it like a red pantsuit or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Isn't this your friend Autumn?" I go, "Yes, because she DJ'd
Oh, yeah.
it like
I did
2 years ago." Yeah.
I did 2 years. Oh, send me that out. I want to see it.
Oh, really? Yeah. It was like on Instagram or something. Wait,
Oh,
don't
so
you know
cool.
her? I'm like, yeah, because she was DJing. That's why she's in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it for 2 years in a row, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
It's one of the best events I've personally ever been
Well,
to.
it's pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like-
pretty good as a DJ. That's pretty prestigious to like land, yeah.
the last year, and I only knew about polo from Pretty Woman.
Yeah, but it's not even about the polo. It's all about the champagne.
But Julia Roberts came
Oh, she did?
the last time, which was
Oh.
crazy.
Oh, that's-
like
yeah.
it was
Yeah,
iconic
yeah.
because
Yeah,
Julia
yeah.
Roberts is there.
Of course.
You know, the whole
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
Woman
creating the
scene.
Pretty Woman
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah,
Totally.
I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
how am I DJing this? And
Yeah.
like Benedict Cumberbatch was there. Like everyone was at this event. I was just, my head was spinning. It was so awesome.
That's great.
And it's outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, that it is a great event for sure. Like, but you know, all of that kind of cool stuff was happening. I just started playing Las Vegas right before COVID. I just got an agency to represent me. I was like making the rounds, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess honestly, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna play again. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of came to that
Yeah.
conclusion, but now starting to like talk about it again. But I'm now in like massive rush to do it.
Yeah. Not if you don't have to be. I feel like that's the situation. Like,
Well, you're not relying upon that for your
No.
entire
Exactly.
income. I think if someone's a DJ that only DJs,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like, oh, everything stopped for me. But as a songwriter who's,
Yeah.
you know, earning royalties and works on projects exclusively, you know, the way that you do,
Yeah.
it's kind of self-contained things like that. You know, your income is
You gotta have love.
thankfully really spread
Pots
out.
boiling.
it's just.
But not everyone does.
I love that
yeah.
you do that. Like I like, you know, it's like, even with me, it's like I juggle so much stuff, and people always kind of look at me sideways, like, you can't do that and do this and do this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
like,
you can.
Fuck yeah! Why,
But
why the fuck
people
not?
project their insecurities on you.
True,
so
but-
whatever they're projecting on you, they're saying like, "How come I can't do all the
Right,
things he
of
does?"
course, of course,
you
of
know,
course.
like that's usually a
Yeah.
reflection of their missed
Yeah.
shortcomings, or you know.
But that's like where I get my motivation from, is people that just don't, you know, that just go balls out. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, I handle Kiki Palmer, and it's funny because she created these characters just for fun on her own on her Instagram, and they just started kind of taking off.
Wow.
And then from there, she, you know, did a deal with Facebook, and then they did a very short, like a short series of these characters that she created on her own, and then she was nominated for an Emmy.
Wow.
For that series.
For that,
Goodness
for
gracious.
those characters.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I remember talking to her, and I was like, look, like, this more than anything should give you the validation that you need, that you could do whatever the fuck you want to
Whatever.
do.
Yeah.
Like, you created these like characters out of nothing, like, and
did it at home, like, in her
got
own
validated by
industry.
the
Wanted to.
industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that, like those things to me, that kind of lit a fire under my ass. Like, You can't let nobody tell you shit.
Totally.
You know, you can do whatever you want to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm working on the children's book right now.
I love that. That's what I'm saying.
Really
what else
cool.
are you doing? That's what I'm
really
saying.
cool.
Yeah, it's been 2 years. No, maybe a little over 2 years. I've been working on it with an amazing illustrator in Norway. She's a school teacher and she's so talented. We have no idea what we're doing, but you know, slowly it's coming together. And
That's so cool, though.
yeah, it's fun.
I think, do you have a publisher involved? I mean, a book publisher?
No,
So I think you just put it together and then they sort of help you package it, right? Or like
Yeah.
fine tune it.
yeah, we're just doing the best we can to make it as good as we can, and then gonna make some copies and then present it, see if people are interested in working with us. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be so cool to feel like you completed that. Like, what even brought that on? Your desire to want to do that. Has that been a long?
No, it's so weird. I had a conversation with my husband's parents about the illustrator.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even know the story. The conversation was how talented this woman was, but she hasn't like put out a proper, like, no one really knows how good she is. And so then I looked at her work and I was just talking about it. I was like, wow, you know what? She just needs to like make a project. Like in music, you just got to do it. Make an album, do something. Like you can't wait around for people. I was like, she should just make a book. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to write it. It literally just came from that conversation. And then I just DM'd her on Facebook. I was like, yo, let's make a book.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, what's it gonna be? And I just start coming up with these ideas.
Well,
whatever.
you're a lyricist, right?
Yeah.
And you're a writer. So for you, it's easy. From her perspective, it's probably like, I
That was the
would
missing
never
key. Yeah,
know how
totally.
to do
Yeah.
that. It would never occur to me to actually put words to what I'm doing,
Right,
you know?
right. And I cannot draw.
Well, but that's the
But
beauty
everyone
of the
has their talent.
collaboration.
The
Yeah,
point of
that's
this
so
whole
awesome.
thing is everyone
Right.
has a talent, you just have to find it.
Yeah.
Stick dog
Yeah.
with like this, the leg,
Totally.
tail.
And one's heavy and the other one's a little shorter.
Just two sticks with like teeth.
And then I get into the flowers, you know, you can do a tulip or a rose.
I can't.
The various floral drawings, yeah.
But I mean, people should take away from that, like just the fact that you have an idea and you just run with it, because people are so insecure and
Overthinking kills
about
a
all
lot
these
of
different things. So it's like
things, yeah.
even you know, like going back to camp, you know, when you were teaching, it's like I loved how honest and how real you were with everybody.
I know some people didn't like it.
Yeah, but that's
We love that.
Where
I-
Brooklyn at? No, are you
we
from the
love
Bronx
it.
or
Bronx,
Brooklyn?
yeah.
Oh, the Bronx,
we love
sorry.
it, because at the end of the day, it's like if you can't take that and she's not being an asshole, she's just being honest about how the industry works. So if you can't take that, then you definitely don't have the thick skin to be in this industry, because it's going to be much worse.
And that's the one thing we want to offer is as honest as we can get with
Yeah.
them, and helpful, because all of it is actually helpful. I don't care if it's tough to hear or whatever, it still is helpful to know that.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of other operations that, again, it's, you know, we're not used car salesmen. This isn't the bait and switch. Like, we want to be able to honestly fit you with some tools to help navigate and make your own decisions after you come.
Yeah.
And having the honesty like that from someone that's been in the circus, it's like, what do you, come on. This is a privilege to be able to hear these
Yeah,
things.
it is.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think that's a major thing. But like you were saying, the execution, to me, I'm drawn to people that I don't want to hear the lip service. Like, go ahead and do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but please execute.
Yeah.
Follow through with these things.
Yeah.
What was the quote that you were talking about striving for perfection is the death of creativity or something like that, right?
It's a Rick Rubin quote. He says, I'll pull it up.
But it
Yeah,
was just
but I
about, I
mean-
mean, again, you're trying to, an artist trying to make this amazing first album. Sometimes
If their
it leaves
only
them
feedback
stuck.
has been their parents up until that point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she needs your mama.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right, right.
So
No,
then that
but-
is not supposed to be her role. Her role is to say, with my experience in the industry,
Yeah.
you know, I'm just music is subjective, but
Totally.
we definitely are bringing experience. So we already can anticipate what a result might be based on da 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 da. You know what I mean?
And sometimes I appreciate-
Nobody's saying it's good or bad. We're just saying like your approach is probably not going to
It's not gonna
work,
work.
or
But if
that
I-
structure of that song is not going
I
to
don't know
work.
how you guys feel, but if I give
Or those
my
vocals
opinion,
ain't going to work.
if you give your opinion to someone and they push back and go, well, I actually really fuck
Well,
with this
then if
song.
you
and I
have
see-
all the answers, you certainly don't need any professional help. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
But
If that's the
also,
case,
I feel
and
like
it's working, is it
I
working
prefer
for
that
you?
attitude though too. Not wanting to hear notes and critiques, but also, all right, tell me why I'm incorrect in my assumption. Then,
Yeah.
if you created this consciously with
Yeah.
these decisions that I just maybe nitpicked a little bit, okay, then
Yeah.
if you're willing to live or die succeeding with 100% the music you want to make
Yeah.
or whatever it is, the art
Then
you want to
that's
make.
the operative phrase is
I
you're
think-
going to live or die by that decision.
But you know what?
So, and it may be,
I
you know.
appreciate that fully because I think people trying to, you know, there's always not a guarantee that you're going to succeed anyways. So you trying to do what you think is going to work and that failing is going to be a tough
That's
pill
great,
to
but
swallow.
again, the operative phrase is if it's working for you.
Right.
If that's working for you, then
Yeah.
keep doing it. But
Right.
if you're going for help, then clearly you know that something is not working there.
Right.
You know that you need
Exactly.
to fine tune it, or you know take another look at it and like reevaluate. You know your execution, or
I think
you know.
the kids that come to the camp, it's help, but also sometimes they just have they're all green. A lot of them, right? There are ranges, and you could see it when they come, but some of them are
Just because they come from different parts of the country,
From
different
parts of the world where this isn't-
where they don't have a lot of access
Yeah.
to other music people or other creatives, so they're super talented. They have an amazing they're an amazing voice, or they have an amazing, you know,
They have a
they're
gift.
amazing writers. Yeah, they all have gifts, but they don't know any. They don't have anyone to help them mold and shape
Yeah.
that gift. And
So yeah, it depends if you want to be in the music business,
Yes.
or if you just want to create music.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a hobby or a career?
Is it a hobby or a career is a huge
Yeah.
distinguishing
'cause
factor.
you could sing whatever you want, which will make you happy for the rest of your life. But
Yeah.
if you're only making music for yourself, then you can't be mad when the world don't like it.
No.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole
Yeah,
nother.
how
you
willing
can't
are
make
you
a
to play the
living
game?
doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that's just a hobby, then you can by all means, you know, do it wherever. Like if your family will hear you at a wedding, then you know, do that. But
Yeah.
like if you want to expand, you know, and actually make a living at it, which you know
Yeah,
you've managed
I mean-
to do, which is not easy.
It's freaking hard. I
Yeah,
tell people, I'm
every
like,
day.
you probably have a better chance at walking on the moon, honestly. Like, because at least you know a formula to make that happen. Like, you know what school
There's a
to go
guarantee.
to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally,
Like, there's
yeah.
a path you can
Yes.
take.
Yes.
There is no path like that. If you do A, B, C, D, blah, 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 that you're gonna, for sure going to have a successful career. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there is nothing. So I just feel like I honestly try to discourage people from going into music constantly because I just don't think anyone should do it. But I'm like, if still after all of this information, you wake up and this is what you want to do and this is your calling, this is what, when you're just like, I have to make music, then this
Yeah.
is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
If you're led by the passion, because
Yeah.
we're all here because of passion. I mean,
Yeah.
I love music. You obviously love music. You love music. It's great. We can all love it, but you got to be so driven in order to stay in it when things aren't great. Because not
Exactly.
every day is going to be great, and not every year is even going
The
to be
majority of the
easy
days
in
are
the
great.
music
Most-
business.
yeah.
Most of them are.
So the passion has to drive you past
course.
all of the tough times.
Well, yeah,
you know.
we did a talk for the House of Blues Foundation last year, or no, I guess
Couple
2 years
years
ago
ago, yeah.
now. But yeah, like we spoke on a panel, and I just said, you know, like if you feel like you can do something else, like you definitely should.
Yes.
Like in the nicest way possible. Like that's
Yeah.
sort of how you. If you really feel like you can do something else, go and do it.
Yeah, so there's a
Agree.
good quote, and I don't know that it's necessarily his quote, but my good friend Rami plays keyboards now for the Foo Fighters. But when he first started, he started out with the Wallflowers.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, I just said to him, I'm like, you know, it's amazing watching him as like basically a childhood friend, you know, who did
Yeah.
recitals and played like Imagine at a recital. And then here you are now, he's,
Yeah.
you know,
He's a
touring the
huge
world with
rock
the Foo
star. Yeah,
Fighters.
yeah.
And he just goes, look, it's simple. I never had a plan B.
Same. I
He
had a
never
plan.
had a plan B. If he
Same.
wasn't going to be in that group or the other group, he would tour and he would play on records in between, which people don't, you know, highlight or really realize that
Yeah.
like there are times in between where you're uncertain but he never had a plan B, and that has obviously led him to like a really good, outcome. But
50 Cent said, "Do or die."
yeah.
Right.
But people know when you're all in too. If you're kind of like you only dip your toe in the water, like I'm not going to get behind that because you're not selling it to me that you're totally invested. Therefore, I can't invest in it.
Well, so many artists are like, oh yeah, I want to be on all these playlists, and I'm putting out a song next week, and I want to get on Spotify. I'm like, but you understand that when you submit, a lot of times when you submit these songs, to Spotify for them to be featured, they want to know how serious you are, what's the marketing plan, who's involved. Like they want to know all these things before they even will support it, because they're like, we get so many fucking songs a day. Why are we going to support you if it's just a one-off song that you just So I mean, even for me running an indie label, same thing. Like they're like, well, what's the plan? What's the rollout? What's the marketing plan? Who else is involved? Are there any sponsors or brands that you're doing partnerships with? I'm like, why do I need to tell you all this shit?
Because they're giving you a lot of access.
Of course.
No, but I'm just trying to explain. If people don't
But
understand, for Spotify to get behind something, they want their track record to be super strong, and they're giving you a lot of access to people who will never have heard your music before, or executives who may never have looked at you that way. So they want to know, like, okay, are you deserving of this access?
Yeah,
are you deserving of this space?
You're gonna grow.
Yeah. Are you going to grow, or is this going to be the one thing you ever put out and you're like, you quit? Then we're not going to invest in you if you're just going to quit after this song, because there's no longevity in that relationship, you know?
Same for songwriters. I feel like a lot of what I'm noticing, it's been interesting through the pandemic, like projects I work on, how active artists are on promoting and how much it affects the record. Like, some artists are really good on their socials and they're posting and they're promoting themselves, and other artists are just waiting for the labels to do everything.
And that's suicide.
Pissing me off.
I tell these kids, I'm like all the time, like, you can't rely on anyone to do anything for you. Like these.
Well, it's your career.
You utilize the resources of people that are involved in your project, but don't rely on them, because they're not always gonna, I had a meeting a couple days ago with a friend of mine who was in a group that was signed to Island, and he was just kind of explaining the same thing, like, we were a priority, we were told we were a priority, we were in with every A+ producer, in the industry, and still we got screwed.
I think I can tell you what happened there. They didn't ever come up with the hit song that would Which
is crazy, because they were in with fucking everybody.
It just takes talking with Tricky Stewart, he'll tell you, it just takes a song. Literally overnight, your entire career can take off based on, that's why he's that kind of producer that likes to come in at a perfect time in someone's career. Like, you got something, you got something going on, you got to have a platform. He's like, I got to be able to add value, but I'm not trying to create you know what I mean? So it's like, he has developed many people's careers besides artists, like executives, songwriters. As you know, a lot of people have started with him, and then they've gone on to be hugely successful. Aside from him, but he's always like, look, I just got to know, when he came in with Justin Bieber, it was like he was an artist signed to Def Jam that didn't have a body of work to release, and it was kind of like everyone's looking like, okay, this kid has a YouTube platform, we don't really get what to do. So he's like, don't worry about it, I'll do the EP one time, I'll just do it, basically on spec. And then that led to Baby, which obviously blew him the fuck up, but but he's the one that took his juice or whatever talent and said okay, I do see that there's something around this. I see, LA already made an investment. Usher's sort of behind it. We know this kid, Scooter, from back in Atlanta. He's a club promoter or a tour manager. So I'm going to literally do him a solid and
But he saw the value in it, and he took a chance.
And produced these songs for him, and boom. You know what I mean? That's the game. That's what we like to be involved in, is that pivot that literally changes lives. A lot of lives around you.
A lot of lives.
Yeah. So, Rihanna Umbrella, boom. She went from Palm to Replay to worldwide, platform.
Amazing.
Those are the moments where you're like, yes, because you see it happen. It's almost like you can literally see the transformation. It's exciting.
That's how it was when I wrote I wrote this song called Thriller for this artist named Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Changed my career. It was,
Yeah, because were you even born when they wrote that? You want to laugh.
I'm old.
my goodness.
David Page, who's one of our clients, who's a member of Toto,
Yeah.
who's such a talented,
Oh, I love Toto.
Right?
Yeah, David also wrote Cheryl Lynn Got to Be Real. He did that with David Foster. He worked on Michael
Tunes.
Jackson, and he was part of.
Yeah.
He worked with Quincy and David Foster
Wow.
and Michael Jackson. No big deal. Yeah. He's a living legend, really.
He's still writing.
Yeah. He has a studio set up, and he just has a little grand piano in his studio. He's like, if you want, I'll play you something. Da-da-da-da. He's like, this is how I came up with the beginning of Georgie Porgy, and you're like, so iconic, or
Like 2
Africa.
days ago.
You know what I mean?
Love.
So yeah, we live for those moments where it's
Yeah.
like you just know that like everything shifted in that moment when that song came out, and that's why I say like there's a possibility that they just never had that hit song that was going to take them, that everyone said we're going to get behind it,
Yeah.
and like depending on what label it is, like they were going to do their research before they ever put it out.
Yeah. See, that's my I'm always on the artist development side.
Yeah.
And I love that side of it. I love, finding stuff early and trying to get it to a point of, so that's my everything I've done in my career is always, been based on artist development.
Yeah, I love breaking
love
an artist.
that, yes.
The first singles, the first crossover
Yeah.
single, that's my thing. I love that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather do that than an artist who's already kind of established and
Yeah.
like, cool, you did a hit, but like, it's
Yeah,
so much
that's
harder.
the 11th hit that they've had,
know what
by
I
the way.
mean?
Yeah.
You know what I
Also
mean?
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much different
They
when
never
it's
forget the first one.
exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but so that's sometimes when the label doesn't get behind stuff, it's because they're like, look, it's kind of like when you're playing blackjack and you're like, am I going to double down or am I just going to like fold? Or I guess that would be poker, but like, am I going to double down or am I just going to stay and see what happens?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at some point you've already invested a lot of money, and apparently still in this day and age to put out a single, they'd have to put millions of dollars behind that particular push. So it's like, we've already spent a lot of money, nothing's happening. Do we really want to commit to like that next
course,
phase of marketing where,
Right, yeah.
we could lose a lot more money?
Yeah.
I mean, you've sat in those setup meetings. I mean, those meetings are brutal.
Yeah.
The labels trying to figure out the priorities and like, are we filming in this artist? No, let's pull back. Let's go
Yeah.
with this artist. And you're like,
So on the flip side, if you're an artist and you're just waiting for other people to dictate your, life, you really need to take a closer look at that and know that like you're the CEO of your brand and your artistry.
Yeah.
Because you may go through several record companies, you may go through several publishing deals, but you should be steering the ship.
You should
Because you
100%
can't give
be.
that power to other people. Like, it's good to have, to have partners and to have sounding boards, but like, don't give all that power away and sit there and be like,
yeah, because that's
what is
suicide.
everyone doing for me today?
Yeah.
While I'm sitting here wondering.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Like,
to
moving
clients.
on to the next
Yeah.
project,
Yeah.
the person that's super excited about their
Find
career.
someone that's super
Yeah.
hungry with their work ethic
Yeah.
through the roof.
For
yeah.
sure.
Exactly. That's what
Bye.
they're doing.
Yeah.
Hell no.
And I may add also, don't be your own worst enemy. So like, don't turn people against you where they don't want to help you. Like, you definitely want to be in that position where you appreciate what people are doing and you cooperate so that they can do, what they need to do.
Because
Yeah.
that's a
I
huge.
mean, honestly, if they're good at their job, you brought them on for a reason. Let them do their fucking job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to want to be successful though. There's some artists, some of the most talented artists I've worked with, they actually don't want to be successful.
The self-sabotage
I agree.
or the
A
imposter.
1,000,000%.
They
Factor.
just want to do like the least accessible records, and the best voices. I mean, some of these artists, I'm just like,
Incredible.
incredible. No one can touch you on any level. If you would just sing this song, everyone can see that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they just will continue to go with the record that won't do well on
Safe,
any level.
yeah.
Not on streaming, not on sync, not on. And they just stay in this little underground world where if they at least just one record, please, please, please,
Just
please,
one.
just
Just
one, give me
one.
one, then we can open the doors and then
Yeah.
you
And
see
then-
how it feels.
Do you think that they're
Take it from there.
subconsciously fearful
Yes.
of rejection and success, and so they kind of stay under the radar, so as to not expose themselves to all of that,
I
and say like, yes, I really believe this is going to be a hit. Because once they say
No.
that, then they're going to feel the rejection. But if they say like, yeah, I don't even want to hit, I just want to keep putting stuff out, then they're not really like opening themselves up to that.
They don't believe, like, well, one artist in particular, like, I actually confronted her about it because I was quite upset that she just was not going with the records that, like, I knew would do something massive for her. And she had a very successful album in the beginning and then had some personal issues, and then we started working on new music, and I'm like, this is it, you know? And she just, we say for 12 hours one song. It sounded so good, and then she just go like, I'm not gonna go with this record. And I'm like, okay, I need to know what's going on. Like, why won't you go with this record when you know this is a hit? And she said, well, I just feel like my time has passed and I'm never going to be successful again, so why try? And she,
That's the thing that I was saying. So she's
Self-sabotaging.
self-sabotaging, trying not to say to the world, I believe that I am going to have another hit. If I put this song out, they're going to look at me like, oh, okay, you think you got a hit. Oh, okay, so you're trying to have another hit? But she was like, oh, no, I'm not even trying to put myself out like that.
no.
I'm just trying to like stay under the radar and just say like, oh yeah, you know, I'm just trying to like wither away.
Go
you
through
know?
the paces, but not.
She's
actually.
hiding.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard to watch, and that's when you got to just walk away.
Yeah, because I mean, your time is money. So, you know, and everything that you're putting into it
Everything
is a
It's just
byproduct
like-
of how she's going to put it out. You know what I mean? Your success is
Yeah.
relying upon her. So if she's going to sabotage herself, you don't have to go with her. You know what I mean? Like, you're not trying to go down with that ship.
But also, do
Yeah.
you feel different about if an artist? Some people are comfortable at the level they are at and the speed they are at for them. The same way that you go, I'm not ready for shows right now. This is fine for me because
Well, that's only because of COVID, though. It's not like she's afraid to do a show.
But
She's just not trying to.
But what,
get
what
out.
I'm telling you is that everyone has a different goal of what success
Yeah.
is to them, right? The goal to a lot of people would be just making a living, not a lavish living, not have a regular job, right?
Yeah, but when you're bringing other people into your world, you're asking them to sacrifice their success because, you know, again, if she's writing with someone that doesn't want to have a hit, let me know that. 'cause
Right.
I'm really not going to spend any time writing with you.
Yeah, I'll waste my time on someone else.
Yeah, let me put it on someone that's really trying to like
Right.
make an impact in the world.
Right.
You know, have something that we're really proud of. You know, be nominated for Oscars, Grammys, and whatnot.
Exactly.
Whether or not that's important to you, she's a songwriter that's
Yeah.
contributing.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants
Yes.
that. You know what I
Of
mean?
course.
So then
Of
just
course.
don't waste
Yeah.
my time. You know, like.
Right.
I know. No, it's hard because it's like it affects everything. It affects the promotion. It affects how the energy behind the project. It just affects everything. Like it's just I want to write music that can reach the most people and be, you know, touch people and
course.
have emotion attached to it and feel and people the artists are proud of. But if you're kind of like, well, I don't feel like my music's people really care about it.
Then they
Yeah.
won't.
It's
like
it can only get to a
yeah,
certain
Then they
level.
won't. Then they won't.
You know?
Yeah.
if
Absolutely.
you can't sell it, I can't sell it.
Exactly.
Right.
So if she's not going to sell it to anybody, for sure no one's buying it. You know what I mean? Like you got to be 100% crazy going,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. This song is going to be a smash. And even then we have many obstacles
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
that happens. But if you don't believe it from the inset, you know, from go,
Right.
then nobody's going to buy it. You know,
Yeah.
no one's going to be like, again, like
Yeah.
not super invested. I'm good. There's
Yeah.
other people that really want it. They're very hungry.
Yeah.
And they believe in it.
Yeah.
But I did, you know, have that conversation with her at the time, and it was awkward.
I'm sure, because you
You
have to
know.
shed a light on like she has issues.
Yeah, it was awkward, and I'm like, she might not speak to me after this conversation.
But again, like
you know, but she really respected me for it, and
You have, I mean, I would hope that someone would have to. You're being honest and you're speaking your truth
Yeah.
because this is your career as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, she may not want to hear it, but you have to respect it.
exactly, and this must have been like 6 years ago. But because of that honesty, we actually are working together again now. And she is in that place where she's like, I want the hits. I want to be
Right,
successful.
yeah.
She's like,
like,
I'm
bitch,
with
now
it.
you're 85 though, and we're not trying to put it on.
Yeah, it always comes full circle.
Yeah,
Well, she's coming from a good place. She's not just like arbitrarily critiquing somebody
No.
or being harsh. Like
Right.
you were really coming from a good place where like, look, I'm really trying to shed some light on where you're at right now. And like, it seems like you're stuck
Yeah.
and you're not
makes a
acknowledging
difference,
it,
yeah.
but you just want to bring us all with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you really need to like reflect on why you choose not to like
Yes.
put stuff out that we both acknowledge is a hit. You know, like, so why is that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fear of you know, having it fail.
But I don't think a lot of like managers and labels have those conversations. I think a lot of people are quick to just dismiss you as like, oh, well, I don't hear the songs, so bye. But like, why don't we hear them?
Right.
You know, like really have those conversations with artists, like what's going on. I don't know if everyone does that.
No, because it's time consuming and you actually have to like dig deep and care.
Yeah, but isn't it artist development?
But who's doing artist development?
Right,
I'm
exactly.
a publisher, you're a songwriter.
Exactly.
You
I'm all
know,
over
he's
the
not
place.
he's not at a label. Like that's typically that would have been artist development.
But even on the management side too, like I mean, I try to have those conversations with my artists.
Yeah.
And occasionally it goes left, but like you said, they ultimately respect you for being real with them, and they know that like you know that you're coming from a good place and not, you know, so yeah, whatever. I mean, and every artist is different. I mean, I've dealt with artists that are cooperative and want to do the best, and then I have other artists who are just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm just like, well, I can't help you if you don't want to do it. If you don't want to do anything, what am I doing here?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I love these conversations. So it's like people get insight into like, you know, how the industry is and the challenges that we all go through in our respective positions. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many different layers to like, we're just talking about artist development, but me as a music publisher, that's not my main focus. That is not
No.
meant to be my main focus. I mean, that is what I gravitate to and I
Yeah.
believe I do it well. But, you know, for me, it's like sign people that are going to, you know, have huge hits on the charts, that are going to amass large amounts of money for the
Yeah.
company. You
Yeah,
know what I
of
mean?
course,
Like,
of course.
or have the foresight to sign someone before they have all those hits so that we don't have to, you know, overpay by
Chase,
millions of
right,
dollars, you
yeah.
know? So for me to be on the artist development side and really be vested in like all of, you know, the producers and writers and artists that I sign, you know, that is, I mean, I had a funny conversation with Tricky, as a matter of fact. He was in town from Atlanta and we were sitting at the Sunset Marquee waiting to go into the studio, and we were just sitting there and he was like, oh yeah, I didn't know that you knew so-and-so. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, you have to realize, he's like, I've never had a relationship with my publisher before like this.
Right.
He's like, so, and I'm like, you know, why didn't you ask? Like, I would have, you know, totally hooked it up. And he's like, okay, but like in all my years, like, and I've had numerous deals, I've never had this relationship with a publisher. So I think I kind of
So
tend to be a
bizarre.
little more
Yeah.
like an A&R person.
Yeah, you are for sure.
Traditional A&R, old school, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
rather than like,
You definitely are.
I'm just, you know, scrounging, you know, I'm scrubbing TikTok for like whoever's available right
No,
now. Let's
no,
go,
no.
you know. And there's a market there, I guess there is, but I believe in like creating copyrights and being proud of those songs, and
Yeah.
and I want things that are going to have longevity past this year,
Yeah,
or
of
like the
course.
next 2 years,
Right.
you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
So for that, it takes more time and effort.
course.
You have to be, you know, vested to really get a sense of like where someone's going.
Yeah.
Because if you just listen to what's in front of you, you're not really gonna like be able to guide someone or be able to tell like just how far they can go.
Yeah, we need to kind of steer away from disposable music and instant gratification
Yeah.
with everything, and look more long term with artists and who is gonna, you know, who are the legacy artists in 20 years. And
That's why I always feel like artist development is so important in having career artists as opposed to chasing, you know, something that's buzzing and I mean, and sometimes that stuff works out too, but you know, majority of the time it's a local or a regional thing, and it makes some noise, and then they do a big deal with it, and then you know, they sell 5,000 records, you know, the first. So it's a give and take. When I was at Def Jam, I always had that battle as far as like artist development and art and A&R research, and it was always
Yeah.
like this, you know. So, but
Yeah, you have to trust your instincts and your gut when it comes to certain things with talent too. It's not, all the research is great and I get it, but you know, you have to go with your instincts a lot.
Yeah.
And get a sense of the person, because you know, these are human beings. Up until I had a conversation yesterday, they're trying to do this virtual artist out of Japan. That was a whole other trippy conversation, you know what I mean? Like launch a song with a virtual artist. I was like,
Oh, wow.
okay,
That's
yeah.
weird, yeah.
Oh yeah. They
I'm not
wanted
ready
the
for
song
that.
for a virtual artist. I was like, okay, so now we're placing songs with virtual artists. Like
Yeah.
that's a whole other
I'm
thing.
not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an artist that I saw that was doing that. A girl, I forgot her name. Michaela. Yeah, Michaela. We're in interesting times.
Yeah.
But we're here. We're persevering.
Yeah, but people take, so we started out talking, and I don't want to bring it back to COVID, but like human connection is a key factor, you know, intimacy in lyrics or knowing about the artist, and sometimes the imperfections that you can relate to are the most important things, right? So how do you get that when it's a virtual artist that's manufactured by a machine, right? So like, where are the things that I can relate to?
Yeah.
Where is the like, the, you know, the weakness that, you know, people can, you know, connect with,
I
you know what I
get
mean?
that,
The
but-
vulnerable.
But I think
part.
there's you know, when you create, you know, a virtual artist and all of a sudden they have, you know, millions of followers, it's like,
Yeah.
take a chance. There's the same thing with like Troye Sivan.
Oh, not to say we didn't say no. The
No,
producer and I
no,
are like,
of
we
course,
just need
yeah,
more
yeah,
information.
yeah.
What is this all
It's
about?
interesting because no one really knows where that's gonna,
Yeah,
you know.
sure.
I mean,
Just like NFTs, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not going to
yeah.
say no, but you still need to give me more information. I need to like understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors that go into a day in the life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like looking at someone's catalog and
Yeah.
sort of evaluating their life's work is crazy. And, you know, dealing with people that had hits 30 years ago that still want to be in sessions every day. And you know, maybe their sound is kind of like left in the 80s and you got to navigate those waters.
of course.
And then also like brand new, you know, talent, like, you know, there's a person behind the songs. Like you're saying a song could take off in a region, but what do we know about that person?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, now they have a hit song and you're going to put them up on stage. Do you know if they've ever performed to an audience
Exactly.
before, or
I
like
find
what
that
they sound
so
like live
weird.
or anything?
Yeah, I remember like the period kind of when that shift stopped of people actually going to go see artists live and like caring if they could perform to just like going to sign them because of something viral.
Right.
And I was like, wait, have you seen the artist perform? Can they perform? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
The song is
Yeah.
a smash and it's going. It has legs. It's going.
Yeah, it has
Like,
legs.
okay.
I was like, yeah, but before you used to like do
Yeah.
showcases
Yeah.
and you know like what happened to all that stuff, and it just seemed like people stopped caring about all that. I also feel like a lot of like I work in the UK a lot, and I love the UK so much because the way radio works there and how open it is and diverse. Just
Yeah.
like everything from drum and bass to like, you know, ballads can be played at any time of the day.
Of course.
And I also feel like a lot of the A&Rs and labels really support artists that just based off of their music. Where here, I feel like it's so much more based on like youth and age and how viral things are.
Right, absolutely.
And that's why I've always preferred to work in the UK.
Right.
I also feel like a lot of A&Rs need to be that A&R that you want to risk your job over an artist. The same way, you know, songwriters and, you know, we're do or die
Right.
with this stuff.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? We really
Right.
are. We don't have we don't have plan Bs.
Right.
I feel like just so many people play it so safe, and I understand that they have families and all that, but like, why did you get into this in the first place? And what's the end game? Like, you know, are you always going to be working
Right.
for someone, or are you really trying to be like the big boss one day?
Right.
And I feel like you're never going to really be the big boss when you're working in those kind of fears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, take the risk.
No,
If
of
you really
course.
find someone that's like
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran or, you know, the Adele,
Right.
really believe in them, but
Yeah.
maybe they don't make the aesthetic that you think is popular at the moment,
Right.
but do you really believe in this person?
Right, and their talent.
I don't see that enough here.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's like when I met John Baptiste, like I contacted him on Instagram. I didn't actually know him in person.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't know. I feel like we're supposed to write some songs or something. Like, I don't know, dude.
And then look, now look.
Yeah. No,
that's-
like, flew over to New York. It took him months to find my DMs. He didn't see them. And we met. The day we met, you know, he was dressed like, at the Steve Colbert show, he was dressed as Prince. We were doing like a Prince.
Was he like he's the MD
He's
of
the
Colbert?
MD, yeah.
Wow.
So he was doing a Prince tribute. So he was in full makeup, a wig, heels, and that's how I met him. You know,
Hilarious.
I was like, oh, is this like how he always dresses? I really don't know, but cool, you know. We played tunes or whatever, and then maybe a month or two later, we finally started writing together, and I just felt so inspired by like how talented he was, yet so open
Yeah.
to ideas. And I find so many, I found it so rare for someone who could literally play any instrument
Right,
he picks up.
right.
Yet he wants you to play it in the room.
Yeah.
He'll be like, Billy, why don't you play it? I like how you play. And then you're playing on the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just found that so interesting, and he's just so open to ideas, yet has so much to say
Yeah.
and so much to pull from.
Right.
And I felt like it reminded me why I do music.
Right.
You know, this is why. And I was like, at the end of the day, in 20 years, when I look back, what project am I going to look back and say, like, this is the project I'm most proud of?
Right.
And what I wanted to say as a human on this earth.
Wow.
You know, it wasn't a pop, super pop
right.
project. Although I'm grateful to have been part of those,
Right.
but those are not the projects. Like, this was the project that I
Right.
wanted to leave on the earth. And I'm just really grateful for that. And I feel like every songwriter should have that project.
Exactly.
You know, whatever it is
Yeah.
that they needed to stamp as a human.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here vibes.
Congrats on that again. I mean,
Yeah,
that
it's huge.
that record is
Thank you.
crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think we're about to be out of time, so
Wrap her up.
yeah, we got to wrap her up. Thank you guys so much
Yeah,
for
thank you guys so much
know
for
for your
taking the
time
time.
today. Please, you know, I'm excited to have you guys at camp, so I'll get you guys details for that. But yeah, great talk.
Always good seeing
Great
you guys.
talk.
Thank you.
This
Yeah.
was fun. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you guys so
you
much.
again.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. And if you want to see more episodes, click here.
Somewhere here.